Hello and welcome back to the channel. Scrubs is back, and with its original cast and executive producer Bill Lawrence, on the back of the success of his most recent shows Ted Lasso and Shrinking, he has come back once again to bring this show new life. The real question is, why? Is this a project that for Bill Lawrence is a palate cleanser, or is this something that is more sort of self-indulgent and going back to his roots and doing something that he really enjoys doing and loves the comedy and these groups of people that he has been so close with all these years? We shall find out. Let's get into it. So like I said, Scrubs 2.0 is back on our airwaves, and it's on Hulu/Disney Plus, and the returning creator Bill Lawrence has come back, as well as turning cast. So you've got JD, Carla, you've got Elliot, and you've got Turk, and also Dr. Cox, all coming back for this reboot. And so the story takes place in present day, so about 25 years plus since the original series, and you find JD, who is now a concierge doctor for the rich and famous after leaving Sacred Heart the first time round. Basically, his patient gets admitted into the Sacred Heart Hospital, and this is what brings him back in. And so it's his triumphant return back to Sacred Heart after all these years, and this is where our story picks up. And so he's in there, and all exactly the same as it was. It hasn't changed a single bit. The cafe is exactly the same, the main reception, even the hallways and the main ICU where he used to work hasn't changed a bit. So it's more or less the same. To him, it's like going back in time. He has to take care of his patient whilst he's in this hospital, Sacred Heart. He comes across his old friends like Turk and Elliot and Carla, and they're all surprised to see him, and it's like he'd never left. They start right back up where they left off. He's joking around and having fun, and he does Eagle with Turk, but actually now that he's older, his back hurts, so he can't maintain it for very long. And so it's very sort of self-deprecating in that respect, where everyone's a little bit older and they're not like the same person they were all those years ago. He finds out that Turk has got like 4 kids and still married with Carla, and him and Elliot have had some conflict as well, and their marriage has ended, and so he has to sort of revisit that part of his life once again. And so he has to juggle all these million different things all at once as soon as he arrives into the building. And this is where also he meets the new interns of the hospital being taught by Dr. Cox. And this is quite a poignant part of the scene where he basically says that he's a dinosaur and his teaching methods no longer apply in the modern day. And so he essentially wants JD to take over the role as chief of medicine. He's like, here's the baton, I'm now passing it on to you. And he sees something in JD. Dr. Cox sees something when talking to the new interns. He can see that he's already sort of built a rapport with them the short time he was in the hospital taking care of his own patient. This is what gets in his mind, is like, you're better at this than I am. Use the stuff that I taught you when you were here firstly and bring it to the job as chief of medicine. And away we go. And it's about JD's story of trying to sort of manage the business of being a hospital, while also drawing a line when it comes to like patient care and all that sort of stuff. And it's him navigating that whole different job role that he's not used to. He's used to the patient care side of things, and so it's a whole new learning curve. This show has definitely got the hallmarks of the original show and definitely draws on those nostalgia strings. For example, like JD still has his daydreams, and it cuts to what we see in his head, which is really great. You're like, oh yeah, I remember that. Yep. He does the whole head tilt thing, and like it snaps into his daydream and we're off to the races. So we still get that element of it. It is also a little bit more grounded. The characters do feel like they're a bit older. They're not quite the same people that they were before, especially in terms of like Dr. Cox as well. And also there's a bit of conflict between Turk and Elliot, because Turk now has like 4 kids and is trying to juggle family life and everything and haven't got a lot of time to spend with his friends. And so it's all about work. And even on Dr. Turk's side of things, because he's been chief of surgery, he's been doing it for such a long time that he's lost the love for it. And the reintroduction of JD is almost like brought new life into it. And so he's again navigating his own story and his own themes, which are quite tough to deal with. Yes, that's all well and good, but I do feel like JD's return back to Sacred Heart is a little bit thin, coming in after all these years, and I don't believe for a second that, you know, they haven't kept in contact all this time. It's as if like JD hasn't been around for a while, and you know he's gone off and done his own thing for a little bit. And come on, they would have like kept in contact with each other. They were so close in the series, and so I don't believe for a second that he hasn't come into contact with them in some way or another whilst he was away. So I don't know, and I think drawing him back in just for a patient is a little bit thin. It's good, don't get me wrong, but I'd like a little bit more. Like for example, this is my pitch. Like maybe a death of one of the main characters, like maybe Dr. Cox, for example, like his mentor, somebody that he looked up to, he could have been like the catalyst for him to come in and take on the job role of chief of medicine and do the job in Dr. Cox's honor, and that's what brings him back to the fold. It will be a bit more serious show, and also it will galvanize the core group together and run the hospital from the surgical side and the medical side and the nurse side as well. So they could all bring and run the hospital together and put their own spin on it. But that's just me. There is a couple of characters that come back. Like I said, the Todd comes back, which is quite a welcome sight. He was hilarious in the original show. There's an administrator who is pretty much the political correctness police, the PC police, and she is constantly on Dr. Cox is back, being like, nah, you can't say that, bring it down. What I don't get is the fact that Bill Lawrence's other shows, he doesn't shy away from all that sort of stuff. Like he leans quite heavily into a couple of his shows there. So I'm not entirely sure why this character is even in this show, but I suppose they're trying to tiptoe around this subject matter, and by doing that they've added this character, because back when the original show in 2005 when it came out, like it wasn't really that much of a thing, and people were very different back then than what they are now, and so they're trying to sort of build that into the storyline. But I can't help but think that the other shows aren't like that at all, and so it's a bit different, bit strange in my opinion. But otherwise, like there were some laugh out loud moments, and there were some great interactions between the core group, and it's like here they are, they're back again, and so in some respects it's really good. It does get you thinking back to a different time. The only difference is in this show, instead of using paper clipboards, they're using iPads. The hospital may look the same, but the infrastructure around them in terms of like the technology and stuff has changed. So in that respect is good, but there are parts of the story that I do feel is a little bit thin and could add an extra extra depth to it. Although it is only 2 episodes in so far, so maybe as the season goes on, we might get a little bit more. But for now, it's a good start, but could be better. So definitely check this out. If you're a fan of the original show, there's definitely something for you in this. And also, if you're new to the show, it's a great introduction, and it will get you wanting to watch the previous show. You don't necessarily have to know like all the characters, and you don't necessarily have to know all the backstories and things like that. You can go in cold and watch this from the start, and then you'll be like, oh, what's going on here? And then later on, you can watch the other series as well, which is quite good. So yeah, let me know what you think of the Scrubs reboot so far, and are there any other TV shows from back in the day that you'd like seen made in the modern times for a modern audience? Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next video.